special guest. We have Benjamin Watts with us, or otherwise known as Caveat Magister.
So I've been asked to say a few words about psychomagic. Let's first start by just talking about what psychomagic is in the first place. Psychomagic as a term was coined by Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Welcome to Shade Dreams.
Hey guys, welcome back to our final episode of Shared Dreams, where we will be going over the answers to our survey that we sent out to the class regarding some of the topics and questions that we discussed over the 6 episodes of Shared Dreams. So yeah, we're gonna dive right in. So the first question that we asked was back in episode 1, when we were discussing VR situations and compulsions with an unregulated environment. So the question was, when placed in a VR situation, do those compulsions change? Are we likely to behave differently in an unregulated environment, and why? So one of the answers that we got were, my experiences were as a group, and so I was still self-conscious in the way I normally am. I think I may act differently as described before, and I can imagine people may act as they do online if using VR alone, sometimes ruder and aggressive without the consequences of being in person. So I think that sort of connects with our original discussion topic of being like more comfortable behind a screen and like a lot of the issues that stem from that. And as we get more into like a virtual world, I think that's definitely an issue. But yeah, any thoughts from the group?
Yeah, I also remember, I think in that first episode, Tyler talked about how, his actions in a VR setting would be the same, assuming it had a real world impact. So obviously our classmate here is saying that in the VR setting, he was with other people he knew in a larger group.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sure if he behaved in a rude way or did something out of the ordinary that might have been bad, that would have directly impacted someone in the real world.
Right.
I've seen him do it, and it would have changed their perception of him.
I mean, the actions are still.
Like, so yeah, so I think that makes a lot of sense. It aligns with what we.
Yeah, like if your friend betrayed you in a virtual world, you're going to be mad at them probably.
I mean,
but if it's a random person, you're going to be like, it's just a game.
But I'm still mad at theoretical random person.
Right.
Like I'm playing.
But no consequences come from it.
No, but I'm playing, GTA. Some guy blows up my car. It's still a real guy.
Yeah.
If I meet if I call him on party chat, I'm like, hey man, why'd you blow my car? But at the end of the day, there's a real effect to this.
100%.
As opposed to someone who's in a world that is completely isolated.
Yeah.
Then there truly isn't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next topic. So the next one was around episode 2. So it was had to do with the subconscious agenda. Sorry, this might be episode 1 still. So the subconscious agenda. The question was, based on this passage from the book, and the passage reads, God, my neck snapped in the direction of the music as tingle went down my spine and I felt compulsion to rush over and join. So the question says, do you guys feel there is a subconscious agenda that creates such strong compulsions in our life? And the answer reads, there might be subconscious impulses, one we might not have full control over and awareness of. I wouldn't call it an agenda, though. This implies high-level thinking and consciousness, which it, by definition, isn't.
Yeah, so I actually think I agree with that. I think, the use of the word agenda might be misused because it would be strange for a subconscious to have its own, agenda. But other than that, I think that response aligns with what we were talking about. So,
sure. Yeah,
sure.
I think so too.
Awesome. All right. Next question had to do with coincidences. So my question is, what do you think? Are these monumental coincidences which make us think, is this real life, propelled by psychomagical experiences, or are they just statistically bound to happen? So this is from episode 6 of our podcast. You can go back to listen to that. But yeah, the answer reads, given enough people and time, the most unlikely becomes near inevitable.
I think we all
Lovely answer.
Yeah, great answer. Completely.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I mean,
that was, I think what we were trying to say.
That's basically what we talked about.
They might as well give what they said.
Yeah, that was amazing. All right, let's just go next. I don't think anything you just said. All right. This was question. Are there any real life or pop culture examples you can recall that utilize this guide to produce psychomagical experiences? Furthermore, explain the process of how this guide created those psychomagical experiences. Answer reads, as you suggest, it reminds me of cult behavior. They may use similar techniques, though I don't think they got it from Magister. Probably not. Often in the book, his effect reminds me of mega church pastors I have seen, although I wouldn't say that's an indictment of Magister.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you read?
Yeah.
Can you go back
So
a little
often in the book, his effect reminds me of mega church pastors I have seen.
Of
Although
what?
mega church, like in the southern states, like they have mega churches, which are
Oh.
thousands of people.
Oh,
okay.
yes.
Often like Christian or Catholic.
Gotcha.
So yeah, although I wouldn't say that's an indictment of Magister.
And this is related to what question? Sorry.
Explain the process of how this.
It's related to the question where it's like, the guide to like how to
Okay.
create an environment
Yeah,
for
yeah.
psychomagical experiences.
Oh, I see. So,
Yeah.
so right, the guide about going to like a remote location.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Being with a group of people with a shared challenge. I understand.
So
Yeah,
you're
that's
saying,
an
like,
interesting
yeah,
perspective.
I could definitely see how that could create a psychomagical experience. Everyone's in the same church, same
Shared
pastor.
beliefs.
Yeah, common goal, and they experience the same psychomagical.
Yeah, I think that goes like back to a lot of the topics where like people are going for like those shared experience of what, and they know what they're looking for. So I think these mega churches, like whatever, if you support them and go to them, I think you're going for those reasons to get that experience, religious experience. And I think oftentimes it can be psychomagical, and I think it's of the effect of the pastor that is responsible for a lot of that experience.
I think the big difference between the story and the example of mega pastors or mega churches is with these churches, I think a lot of them have really hard stances on many social issues. So the idea is to try and kind of like abolish those things. Whereas in the story, they kind of talk about creating a strategy or creating a common goal to actually have a positive outcome. Whereas these ones, like, you get what I'm trying to say. So a lot of these southern churches have negative views on social issues, and they really hard stances by trying to get rid of them. Whereas,
So you think that goes against the psychomagical experiences?
Well, maybe not against the psychomagical experiences, but I think it's just different ways. Like one's positive by trying to reinforce a positive experience with friends and having a common goal, whereas others is
if they
trying to get
have these shared negative beliefs, in your opinion, like they're positive for them.
Yeah,
they could be. So it's like they're still going for that psychomagical experience.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and also like the mega churches, like they're used to raise a lot of capital and like money, so they might not have the best intentions that are authentic and impactful, and this might affect the psychomagical experience that they're trying to create at the mega churches. So there's also criticism in that way.
Back to the corporate bureaucracy.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. If no one has other thoughts, we will jump on to the next one here. So the next question was, so my question to you all is how you think the current academic system, including elementary through university, has embraced the idea of perfectionism, and how you think that is affecting society. So the answer is, that is a bit of a leading question. I wouldn't say it does to a great extent. The modern teaching philosophy often puts collaboration, creativity, and other ideals ahead of it. The shift to rubrics from a percent grade reflects a step away from perfectionism. And I think that's fair.
So it's all about personal experience.
Like,
I certainly grew up in a school that was very standard. It was a public school in Southern Ontario. It was like, do this, here's your mark. Obviously, no idea where this person went to school. Like, I know people went to like art schools and summer schools, and they were a lot more creative. A lot of private schools had a bit more money to do, these. It all comes down to people's nurture, how they grew up. As I was saying, I do stand by a belief that a lot of current schooling does relate mostly to perfectionism, follow these sets of rules, blah blah blah. But I guess that's not to say it is every piece of schooling. Sorry, go ahead.
I think schools are getting better with it and stepping away from that like traditional view of teaching. But I think we have a long way to come. Like for example, like when we were talking about it before on one of the other episodes, like we only had like one or two examples from our entire university career of multiple professors, multiple classes, where we actually had a professor that like gave that like open-ended, like away from the rubric. But yeah, I think we have a long way to come, but I think we're trending in the right direction. I think with the removal of like a lot of standardized testing, that's getting there. I know a lot of universities in the U.S. like drop SAT requirements to get in, like University of Chicago. So I think that's stepping away. But yeah, any other thoughts on that? Or should we go next one? All right. So next question and final question. Can you think of an experience you had that was supposed to be immersive that was ruined by capitalist ideology and pressure of external bureaucratic power? Put simply, when has an immersive experience been ruined by profit-seeking corporations? So this was in our previous episode. We actually touched on this answer already. But yeah, it was just about how they sort of looked at it from the art side of it. And we discussed how the power of the artist is often seen to be like more powerful than the capitalist movements to try and destroy it, or at least that's what our classmates said here. But yeah, any further thoughts on the bureaucratic?
So I think it all also depends. So, and I think the biggest piece of this is that art and media movements are psychomagical for that person. Mm-hmm. I'm someone who often isn't very moved by art and most artistic things. Sure. So when it's already struggling for me to get into, the idea. Yeah. So point being, I think it all depends on the person, but to me, I still find that corporations and selling things can get in the way.
Yeah, awesome. So that's it for the Shared Dream podcast. We got 7 great episodes. We hope you enjoyed them all. And yeah, so this is our team. This is for our religion virtual realities class, and we're Shared Dreams. So go ahead, keep sharing your dreams, and come back to our podcast because this is where dreams are shared. Have a good one.